in my video and to have me make a video specially to answer your question, send me an email to englishclubusa@yahoo.com, and you can visit my website at englishclubusa.com for a free life membership. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Just like all of my students, many of you who are taking tests or getting ready to take a test that has an oral and a written part have fear of those two sections. And there is no reason to have fear. So in this video, we will take your fears away. So, what do we need to know when we are trying to communicate with people in general? And there are two ways of communication. One way is orally, and the other way is in a written format. Well, very interesting that if you can communicate well and comfortably and confidently with people in a written format, and you know you're doing it well, it is so much easier to communicate orally. That is why I always, when I prepare my students to take a test, I never start with an oral part. I always start with a written part. And the reason why is because English language has a specific way of providing information. So, the best way to practice what is the native English way to provide information is to learn how to write essays. Because if you are good at writing essays, then the English system will be embedded in you. So in this video, what I would like to do is I would like to teach you how to write essays in a way that nobody taught you before. So let's take a look what you need in order to be successful at writing essays. Well, generally you need three main parts. Are you ready? The first part that you need to do when you communicate with people is to make your communication fun. That means whatever you start with, it has to be something that catches attention of people and gives them desire for more information. If you do not do this part correctly, it is almost impossible to have a good communication. So that is part number one. The second part, very important, is that whatever you give, whatever information you give, has to be informative. You cannot continue talking without giving information. Nobody has time or patience. So it's very important to be concise and informative. And the third thing is you must have a structure. If you do not have a structure that I expect you to have, then I have no patience. I don't know what you're trying to say. I don't know where you're going. I don't know why you're telling me all this. So this is why it's really important to understand these three basic things. So, what is the structure of the essay? How do you do that? Well, at the beginning, you need to create fun situation. You need to create some kind of shock for your readers. And that's the main and the first function of introduction. So the first thing that I read on your paper as an English teacher, and you have, as I always tell my students, you have 7 seconds. In 7 seconds, you must make me want to read your paper. So whatever you tell me, it has to be good enough or bad enough to motivate me to read your paper. If you didn't do that, you will never be able to write a good paper. So that's your step number one. Step number two, you need to be informative. That means that you need to give me a map as what I am going to expect of you when you will write me a paper. So here you have to give me a very short, concise map of what you will talk about. And the step number 3. After you have given me the map and you made my reading interesting, then you need to make a transition. And the transition needs to go from your last point of the map to the next subject you're talking about. So let's take a look and see exactly how the map works. So when you do the map paragraphs, after you do, we will talk about transitions just a little bit later in the video, so be patient and you'll find out. After the introduction paragraph, the next thing is you will be writing map paragraphs. In other words, the things you told me you will talk about, there are 2 things, or 3 things, or 4 general things you will talk about. Then you need to give me specific accusations. That means you need to give me something. Why is it? What are you telling me in that first paragraph? Why is that paragraph important? And after that, you need to give me supporting evidence, examples that support your specific accusation. So if you think that EnglishClubUSA.com is a really great website because of having free membership or really inexpensive membership or a really expensive membership, okay, justify it, but be specific. After you had finished your specific examples, you need to do another transition, just like you made one from the introduction paragraph to the second paragraph, or to the third paragraph, or to the fourth paragraph. And the transition always connects your map ideas. And finally, when you're finished with your map main ideas, which will be a paragraph number 1, number 2, number 3, or number 4, normally 2 or 3, then you make no transition. Every paragraph in your essay should receive a transition from the last idea to the next idea, except the last paragraph. The last paragraph does not get a transition, because when there is no transition, it's like a traffic light. It tells the reader that you're finished with your evidence and your map that you gave them at the beginning. So, what about conclusion? How do you write a conclusion, which is very important? And at this time, I want to give you a secret about English teachers. English teachers, we are lazy. When we have to read 500 essays, do you really think we want to read everything you write? No. What we want to see is, we want to see how well you did your introduction. If you did your introduction excellently, then probably you know how to do the rest. So what we do as English teachers, and that's a secret, we will definitely read your main paragraph. We will read it very carefully, and we will try to understand if you understand how to shock a reader, how to give a map, and how to make transitions. If you did that well, this is your 40% of the battle. Amazing. This is why this part is number 1. Yes, you need to structure your paragraphs. Yes, you need to give evidence. But you know, often English teachers don't even read everything. We just look to see, we read the first sentence, what are you trying to say? Does it correspond to your map? We look to see if you gave me evidence. It doesn't matter what you gave us, we don't pay attention. And then we look how you connected the last idea to the next one. How you connected paragraph number 1 to paragraph number 2. Paragraph number 2 to paragraph number 3. And that is very important. And finally, we definitely reach a conclusion. We want to see if what you told us at the beginning, your shocker, your map, your shocker and your map, if these two things are in your conclusion. So you need to review your map with the reader. Make sure you go over your map to tell them what you did in the paper, 2 points or 3 points that you had chosen. Mention something that was really important, certain key points of your paragraphs, as an example, and you need to restate your shocker. That means this last sentence needs to be very powerful. It needs to be very memorable. And it needs to make the reader connect to your original idea. So, let's take a look how this theory works on practice. Okay, writing an essay. Remember, at the beginning of the class I told you that writing an essay is very important for your ability to communicate orally. And the reason for that is, when you communicate orally, you need to make sure that audience enjoy what you want to tell them. You need to make sure that you are informative, and you need to make sure that you're structured. So if you learned those 3 points, then you will be always an excellent communicator. It doesn't matter, orally or in a written format. So, what about introduction? What about a shocker? So let's take a look at a theme, and I had chosen the theme of a question that you probably will not see on the test, but I chose it for fun, so that at least we can learn information and have a good time. So, the question is, for your essay, what did you find most interesting about learning English? So if you stop this video right now and think, what did you find most interesting about learning English? So stop the video and think. Now, since you thought a little, let's see how I answer the question. So, I had to find some way to get attention of the reader. So how do you get attention? So let's see. What is the shocker for the reader? Let's see if I can shock you. Those who know, do. And those who don't know, teach. This expression is very popular in English language. So we're using this expression as a shocker, and then we're using it as a subject. Because those who know do and those who know teach is an old saying. This could be because while having long paid vacations and no personal responsibility for failures of their students, teachers often do not understand that facts often do not support their theories. And many teachers do not follow even basic rules. So that was my map paragraph. But what did I talk about? Were there any points that I had in mind to mention in the paragraph? Did you find them? Well, let's see. What did I talk about? I mentioned that facts that we have every single day, the way teachers speak English, those are facts. You cannot change them. It's not an opinion. That's what you read in the paper. That's what you watch on television. That's what you hear how teachers speak among themselves. Those are facts. And then teachers teach you rules, theory of how you should do things. So when you see things that are not the same, that reality is one thing and theory is something else, and they don't equal, it's a problem. So that would be my paragraph number 1. And that should be in the map. And the paragraph number 2 is that we know that teachers don't often represent with their theory reality and do not follow English rules. They will make mistakes, and sometimes big mistakes. So the question is, how is it possible that teachers have their own rules and you have your own rules, and your rules do not correspond to the facts, to the way people speak really, or the way people write really, or the way you hear things in the movies? Well, let's see how we did that in the map paragraph. So, those who know, do, and those who don't, teach, is an old saying. This, of course, this is my map paragraph. This could be because while having long paid vacations and no personal responsibility for failure of their students, teachers often do not understand the facts. That facts often do not support their theories. And, second part, many teachers do not even follow basic English rules. So here I am using one sentence, connecting the idea that was the original shocker, that people who know English really well don't teach English. They do other things. They make more money. And people who make mistakes or want long vacations or want no responsibility for the facts and the theory, they teach English. And that's a problem. Of course, there are really good teachers who follow the theory, and the theory that they teach you actually represents the facts. Absolutely. And these teachers live what they teach. For sure, there are teachers like that. But unfortunately, you met teachers who do exactly that. So, my paper is about that. So I'm trying to show 2 points. One is that reality does not equal to the rules of English language. And the second is that teachers don't follow the rules. So remember, after we did our attention getter, after we shocked the audience, and after we gave the map of where we're going, we need a transition. How do you make a transition? The way to do that, you need to connect your last idea that we finished, that teachers do not follow rules, okay? And we need to connect to the original idea, the first idea, that facts do not equal theory. So the English rules do not equal what you see in reality. So let's take a look how we can do it at the beginning to tell where we're going, and then how we can give examples, how we can give evidence of accusations that facts don't follow theory. That real English that we use every day doesn't follow the rules that English teachers are teaching you. So, let's look at some examples. I decided to do let's first look at the transition, how the transition works, and then we will look at examples. So, teaching by personal example, teachers could give their students confidence that the real life examples, real life facts, actually follow the theory. So by being correct and by following basic theory, the teachers can show you that the real things are actually what they teach. And that's exactly what we did. After that, we need to show evidence of this. The teachers do not do that. The teaching by personal example, teachers could give their students confidence that the real life facts, but they don't. So let's look at example. The example one is simple present, and you had learned what simple present is. And many students make a mistake. They teach you that simple present means now. So, when you get out at 2 o'clock in the morning and you walk on the street because your dog had to go to the bathroom, you walk by the school. And the school at 2 o'clock in the morning at night is closed. It's not open. It's not functioning. But the teachers say that schools teach students. Teach is your simple present. So schools teach students. And you say, but wait, schools teach students is correct. I agree, yes, schools teach students. But now it's 2 o'clock in the morning. How is it possible that a school can teach something that nobody's there? So that would be a good example where it doesn't work. Simple present, in that case, has nothing to do with now. What about other examples? Well, we have other examples. What about present continuous? In present continuous, we're talking about you and I now are watching video. I am making a video, you are watching a video. I am explaining to you how to write an essay. Now, yes. But wait a second. Is it always now? So let's see how teachers use present continuous, and do they use it as now? Tomorrow is tomorrow now. Tomorrow is not now. That's tomorrow. That's future. But the teachers will say that tomorrow my family and I are going on vacation. How many times you heard that expression? What are you doing tomorrow? That is the most frequently asked question in the English language. How is it possible that you can use present continuous with time reference of tomorrow? That doesn't follow the theory. Present continuous is now, but tomorrow is not now. What about simple past? The teachers teach you very often that simple past is what? A finish. Really? Is simple past a finish? Let's look at an example. Yesterday, I was a student. Were you a student yesterday? Are you finished being a student? But wait, simple past is a finish. I was a student yesterday is the correct statement. Yes, you were a student yesterday. But did you finish being a student? So wait, this is not a finish. So the English teachers use this, and you perfectly understand that this is correct, but it has nothing to do with finish. Those are just some examples. Those are just a few examples. So there will be homework, of course, on the tenses. Make sure you watch videos. They're really awesome. You will love. They're the best, I think, and the most important videos that I will have. So those are the three examples. They're evidence. The teachers do not follow the facts. The facts are you're still a student. The fact is that you're not going today, you're not going now on a vacation, you're going tomorrow. That's a fact. And the fact, the school is closed, and it is not teaching students right now. It doesn't teach students right now. It teaches students, but not now. So those are the three examples that prove that English teachers who teach English this way do not follow the rules. Because they know that facts are different from theory. So, how do we go to the next step? In this step, we talked about, we did the transition, and this was your first paragraph. So let's see how we will go on from here. So how do you transition from the evidence to the next paragraph? And the way to transition is you need to have a transition. We had spoken last time in a paragraph, we gave evidence that teachers do not, the theory that we learn in English grammar does not equal reality the way we saw it. So now how do we transition from this idea to the idea that teachers don't follow the rules? Let's take a look. How can students finish successfully if teachers speak using different rules than those they had taught to their students? How can you? Is it possible for you to be able to be successful if you are using different rules than the teachers? That's very difficult. So, in the second paragraph, we will identify that teachers do not follow rules. And that is, do as I say and not as I do is a horrible way of teaching. So that's a very famous expression in English language, just like the original one. Do as I say and not as I do. That means teachers tell you the rules, what they want you to use, but not do it themselves. That's where the expression comes from. Do as I say, but not as I do. That is a horrible way of teaching. So you need to give some evidence. You need to refer to what you had spoken before to prove that teachers do that. So the evidence or the example would be in all three examples before that we saw in the video, not one actually followed the rules being taught by my teacher. So that is a proof with the previous paragraph that the teachers taught you one thing and whatever they taught is not correct. So now we're finished with a second paragraph. With the second paragraph, what we need is we need something, not a transition, but we need something to finalize the paragraph with. And that would be an example. This makes a student wonder what teachers think while teaching. So this is like a summary of this paragraph that you said that some people say, do as I say, not as I do. You showed proof that in the last paragraph you gave examples that show that teachers actually do not follow the rules, do not work. And teachers use it in a different way. And that means that it makes the student wonder, what do teachers think about when they give a class? If they know that the rules they give you do not work in real life. So that would be the end if you're doing a 2-paragraph essay before you come to a conclusion. So let's take a look and see how we're doing conclusion. Conclusion, as you remember I told you in the video, is the second most important part of your essay. The first part of the essay is number 1. It will tell everything about you as a communicator. Are you fun? Are you structured? Are you informative? So this is where you need to tell people that yes, you are. So there is no doubt there are many teachers who understand that consequences of bad teaching, and there are many who don't. So you have teachers who understand the consequences and they teach well. And you have teachers who don't understand consequences and they teach badly. Examples of present continuous, simple present, and simple past tenses have clearly showed that. That's your conclusion. You're referring back to the examples that were important in the paper. So, now you need to connect to the final punchline. Remember, you did the attention getter at the beginning. You made it fun. So now, since you were informative, you were structured, you need to make it fun again. So how do you make it fun? English students hope that a desire to be a teacher will not end only having a stable salary and long vacations, but with being an excellent teacher. Wouldn't you like for every single teacher not to think about long vacations and a stable salary? Don't you think that the most important goal of a teacher is to be an excellent teacher? Well, I know for sure, if you will follow the writing essay, not only will you be an excellent communicator, but one day you too will be an excellent teacher. I hope you enjoyed this class, and I hope to see you next time. To be in my video and to have me make a video specially to answer your question, send me an email to englishclubusa@yahoo.com, and you can visit my website at englishclubusa.com for a free life membership. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell.